And welcome back to LinkedIn Logs. This is the Jobs podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Happy Wednesday. I am a whole day late on this. Listen, I have a qualm to pick right now. The setup has been the setup for I've had iterations of this setup of what I use to make this show, and then before that, the Constitutionals. Now, originally, the setup was my laptop, GoPro, and then to some extent the iPad and my phone. Zoom H6, this microphone, boom. Didn't have a light, didn't have a lot of stuff. Over the course of however long I've been doing these podcasts, 4 or 5 years, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know how long I've been doing anything. I've gotten into a rhythm. I've gotten it down to a science where I can just sit down, everything's set up. People come in my apartment. Oh, here's your work from home setup. Yeah, work. Yeah, work. I got it down to science. And everything relatively stays ready to go. The Zoom lives on the desk. The the arm is stuck on the desk. All I have to do is bring over the iPad, plug in the Zoom. The cable lives in here. Plug in the cable from the iPad to the Zoom. Flip up the privacy cover on the camera and turn on the light that lives up there. And boom. That's it. Open my apps that I use. Now I use a couple apps. One, I use a clock. That used to be my phone. But now I use a clock on the iPad because I didn't know it was there. Then I have a calculator app right now. So I assume there wasn't a clock. I'm stupid. Or pretty smart. The other app I use is Spotify for Podcasters, which was a great... People used it to record their podcasts right on their iPads or Android phones or whatever. And you could record audio and video directly on your phone or iPad and upload it to Spotify. Now, I never used that. I used the soundboard part of it. They had a soundboard where I could just play my music, the theme songs for these shows, and get on with it. They recently updated this friggin' app, getting rid of the functionalities that I use with the soundboard option, which threw me for a loop nigh upon 10 minutes ago. So picture this. July 24th, 10 minutes ago, 4:13 p.m. I'm sitting here listening to SiriusXM on my computer, listening to the May 24th episode, the inaugural episode, the maiden voyage episode of Yacht Rock Radio, Club Yacht Rock, mixed by the Captains of Industry. Do I know who the Captains of Industry are? No, I do not. But I know that they are playing some hot yacht rock songs and sort of blending them together. It's literally just like Rich Girl blended into, Steely Dan. Peg. It's Rich Girl blended into Peg. You go from Hall & Oates to Steely Dan to Fleetwood Mac to whomever. To Chicago, whatever. But it's all these upbeat songs kind of in a club-like mix. And I'm listening to this and I'm jamming. I'm rocking. I'm wearing my yacht. If you're watching the video, you're seeing me wear a Hawaiian shirt. Because sometimes you wear Hawaiian shirts to work. I know I did. Because I can rock anything. No, I can't. I can't rock anything. There's a lot of stuff I tend to avoid. Stripes. So I can never be a referee. Also, I don't want to pay attention too much to sports. Sometimes I play a podcast in the background. Sometimes I have the Steam Deck or the Switch and I'm watching football or basketball or baseball or what other sports do I watch? Tennis, golf. The end. In a couple of weeks, the Olympics. Or in a couple of days, rather. It starts on Friday. Any Hoosers, I'm listening to Club Yacht Rock and I'm jamming. I'm having a good time. Ooh, what's going on? Setting everything. All I have to do, again, setting everything up. Put the iPad down. Boom. Bring my mouse over from the Mac to the iPad because that's what you can do with these things. Sidecar, I'm utilizing it. Open up Spotify. I turn on my Focus that has my podcasting focus, and then bam, I click on the podcasting shortcut that I have, and it brings up my 2 apps, and the soundboard is gone. I am pissed. So I spent several minutes looking for a replacement. I couldn't find one, so I just ended up using GarageBand because I still have the audio and the project file saved there. So I'm pissed. Anyway, all right, let's get on board. What's going on? Nothing much. I emailed the guy from CNN that I interviewed with, and guess who did not respond? All right, this first story comes from The Hollywood Reporter, written by Katie Kilkenny. I probably should have looked this over. Why would you, would you do it again? A year after the strikes, Hollywood reckons with the aftermath. So a lot like where we dealt with the pandemic, we're still kind of reeling from it. I'm still having trouble finding 5 gum. Isn't that crazy? I can't go to a Target by me. I got to go to Target in a different part of the city to find the gum that I use, and I have to buy it in bulk. It's insane. $10 for like 6 packs of gum. It's crazy. And I think the price went up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But again, a lot like the pandemic, we are a year removed from, think back to the pandemic when it was 2020 and then going into 2021. We have these vaccinations. We can go out into the world now. We're still distancing. But we've learned a lot from that initial bout of sickness. A lot of people died. Even from 2021 to 2022. That was a big jump because we always thought, oh, we're going to be wearing masks everywhere. I know I wore masks well into 2023. I am not kidding. I'll wear a mask if I go to a concert by myself today or stay away from people. Even I get the shots. I'm not like a lot of people. I was going to name some famous people who I know don't have the shot. Jaylen Brown. Ice Cube. Nikolai Djokovic. Oh, to be rich and stupid. I said it. But a year removed from these strikes, from the SAG-AFTRA strike, from the writers' strike, what have we gained from those? There should be better pay disparity. There should be more diversity in these rooms. I just realized I haven't watched Big Brother this week. That's what I'm thinking about as I'm talking. Big Brother this year has got a very diverse cast. And I love watching that show. I love being on, this is my favorite thing to do, watching Big Brother. Is like to watch it as I'm cycling. There's a bike back there. As I'm cycling, and it's to fast forward through all the BS. You get a lot of people were able to join unions. I talked about last week how people in SAG need to make, I believe, like $14,000 or $21,000 a year in order to get the health care. Hollywood is still feeling the effects. During the strike, as creatives contended that they were increasingly being devalued in the streaming era, employment of LA entertainment workers reportedly dropped 17%. Then as workers emerged from the labor battle with sapped savings accounts, the business was simultaneously being reshaped by major companies continuing to aggressively cut costs. Production in the U.S. in the last 6 months is down 37% compared to the same period in 2022. In the wake of the labor battle, scribes have spoken publicly about a dearth of opportunities, while some actors and writers have talked about not being able to meet their union health insurance thresholds, which I spoke about last week. I believe only people talking about how things are going well are the people who have overall deals, like the famous people, the people who have partnered with Warner Brothers Television, who partner with Disney, Netflix, and go, no, it's a great time to work. Yeah, because you have a show. Now, this piece that Ms. Kilkenny wrote for the anniversary, The Hollywood Reporter asked rank and file SAG-AFTRA and WGA members, as well as executives and agents, those questions in regards to was the fight worth it, essentially. Responses were mixed. David Slack of Magnum PI, a former WGA West board member and captain, is one member in the worth it camp. He believes the guild was, quote, absolutely right to go on strike, saying the AI protections were essentially impactful. What he regrets, though, is that, quote, the people we work for are so greedy that we occasionally have to walk back and forth in front of their offices for months at a time. Very true. Thomas Ocha, who's from iCarly in the neighborhood under the SAG camp, believes that, quote, the strike was worth it based on where we were in the early part of the negotiation, when SAG-AFTRA and major entertainment firms were far apart on key issues. Remember that it took Disney and Warner and Netflix so long and to even agree to these terms. For people like who I respect Bob Iger. I like Ted Sarandos. He does say some. He has a lot of foot and mouth stuff, a ton. And David Zaslav is a human being that exists on planet Earth. But all of them, more or less, were putting their creatives in bad spots because they refused to listen to a side of people who are talking about being used. Like it blows for somebody like Scarlett Johansson. Let's just say Scarlett Johansson or any actor. Let's put her as a stand-in for every actor. She's not a stand-in for every actor, even though she thinks she can play trans and let's see, she said she could play trans. She said she could play Asian. Isn't that wild? She said that, and we were okay with it, and then she barely apologized. I wasn't okay with it. I think about that constantly. But she's so pretty. Oh my gosh, we have to. But the ChatGPT wanted to just used her likeness in one of their voices. OpenAI used her likeness for one of their voices in the ChatGPT 4.0 or 3.0, 4.0, I believe that's what it was, or 4.1 or 4.2. Who gives a hoot? Robin Williams had to write in his contract with Disney that you can't reuse his likeness. Now, this is all well and good when a band like ABBA wants to take their tour on the road and they're all in their 70s and they can't move around as much and they make holograms. That's fine. But when you want to come out and let's go to Drake. When you want to come out and use an AI filter with using Tupac or Biggie in your song, and it's against everyone's wishes, that puts everybody has to be concerned about that. Outside of the cocoon of the union, certain agents and executives make the argument that the strikes dealt a harsh blow to the business at a time when it was already in a delicate state of amid consolidation and Wall Street's increased focus on profitability for streaming platforms. One TV exec notes that currently they have more than 200 writers being submitted for 3 slots on a single show. Oh my gosh. That's how it is now with jobs everywhere. Let's forget jobs, in the entertainment industry. I can go to LinkedIn right now, which I'm on, and I can, even the jobs that aren't in the industry, I can click on the other jobs that are often that now make up my profile, my jobs profile, and I can see I can click on any random one. As I say it now, there's not all the ones that have 1,000 subscriptions are gone. Applications are gone. But I can click on any one of these. Let's click on this producer New Yorker Radio Hour from the New York Public Radio. It was reposted 11 hours ago, and there's over 100 applications. I don't have premium, so I can't see exactly how many people have applied. But I can guarantee if it's over 100, I guarantee it's at least 200, 300 maybe. It was posted 11 hours ago. In a day, it'll be 1,000. Because that's just how many people are missing out on working right now. I'm, even though I'm not a part of a union, I do believe I side with the unions. I mean, we needed these protections. You needed to have to take a blow. We need to take a blow in this industry for the workers in order to protect the future workers or to protect future jobs. And the industry is a lot like a yo-yo, just because at one point, John Landgraf, president and CEO of FX, was counting almost 1,000 brand new shows per year. It was 900 new. I think the highest at one point was 964. Talking about that at the upfronts. 950 new shows a year. That's new shows. That's not just returning shows. It's also new shows. That was a high point. And now we're getting towards a low point where we're losing shows left and right. Shows are getting canceled. Shows are sometimes only getting one season, turned into a limited series, what have you. But I do believe we will see some, and we're seeing these networks consolidate. Paramount Plus is probably going to become something else. Peacock lost almost 1 million subscribers this past spring. And they hope to win them back with the Olympics. I doubt it. I will take money against them. No offense to NBC Universal. I just don't think a one-time event for 3 weeks is going to be the thing that people you'll get signups for July to August, but I don't think you're going to get anything else. I don't think people are going to be like, oh, let's see what else is on Peacock, and they're going to stay until December. That's not going to happen. I know once my year subscription is up, Daddy gonna leave. Unless they offer me another $20 a year. Which they did. They did it 2 years in a row. And I said, all right, cool. I'll stay. $20? You kidding me? The deal we got didn't equal writers getting more for their work in many rooms. It meant companies just won't have many rooms anymore, says one TV veteran. And even a studio executive backed that up, saying that the additional cost means their company won't do them anymore. The WGA West typically includes employment data in its annual financial reports, and 2024 has not been shared with members. When asked if it could share how the number of mini room jobs pre-contract compared to the number post-contract, the WGA West declined to comment. A mini room is basically a room of a couple of writers who all get together to write a show, or they're hired by a studio. Let's see, what is the true definition? You get it's a small room and you get to work on a couple episodes of a small show before the company commits to a project. So let's say you have a show about a water bottle company, and then before a show even starts, the studio could come together and be like, hey, let's see how you guys would plan out the season. Let's see how this would work. And then that was killed. So they're basically not doing those anymore. Writers didn't like that, but it was a job. So was it worth it in the end? I think so. This is something we have to continue to fight for. These restrictions are important. SAG-AFTRA members still didn't know the details of the larger pool that received the bonus when it came to residuals. 8 months after to streaming residuals, 8 months after it's all ended, you get a bonus reward for successful made-for-streaming titles. So if your movie does well, your TV show does well, you get extra money, which is how residuals were supposed to work. 75% of the proceeds from the bonus will be distributed to the artists on the shows that did well, while 25% has been earmarked to go to a labor pool for performers that is yet to be specified. But people still don't know where it goes. According to Crabtree Ireland, a committee within the union is still in the process of finalizing a trust agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. SAG-AFTRA has just received its first tranche of data of first quarter projects that qualified for the bonus. SAG-AFTRA's language regulating AI has generated concerns and confusion among some members of the union. Both Nandini Bapat, an actor who appeared in Mythic Quest and Barry, and stunt performer Mary Fink, who's from Barbie and Thor and Love and Thunder, were also worried about that. This past spring on two separate Debbie Warner Brothers shows, taken aback when they were asked on their first day of work to consent to the creation of digital replica of their faces. Oof. In their contracts. Fink also working on the Sex Lives of College Girls, while Bapat declines to name the show she worked on as a co-star. Oh, Fink was working on the show as the Sex Lives of College Girls. Anyway, neither were informed before their first day that this consent might be requested, and both balked at what they were being asked to approve, and so did not sign. I did a research study yesterday. I am not allowed to talk about it, but I did do a research study yesterday for a tech company, and you had to sign NDAs and all that stuff, and I was paid. So there you go. But in the I had to sign two different NDAs. But outside of one of the NDAs was a contract that said we can use your likeness and everything. And the first time I signed it, I said no. And then I got there, and then they were like, "Oh, your contract is it's not. You didn't sign it correctly." And I got there again, and then I had to sign that part. And then when I got there, there's one guy asking about the likenesses thing. He's like, "So are they gonna like?" And it's a legit question. He's the smartest one there, asking, "Oh, are they gonna use? Are they gonna use our likeness? Like, they're gonna hold it for 90 days, all that stuff?" And then the people are like, "It's just what they do. We have no we have no control over that." And they didn't. They were a company hired by the big tech company, or a testing company hired by a big tech company. They had no affiliation with each other. But he kept asking the question, and at first I was like, "This is kind of annoying." But then in my head, I was like, "Come on, man, answer the question, guys, please." Not that anybody wants my likeness. Anyway, in the end, there was I can't say much. There was a camera, but my face was not in the camera, as the technology did not have to do with facial stuff, which is good. But it did have to do with, I won't say. I signed an NDA. I love signing NDAs. It wasn't AI. Although, no, it wasn't AI. A SAG-AFTRA spokesperson says that advance notice is only required for these pop-up likeness contract things 48 hours before the creation of a digital replica or before a scan occurs, and that a, quote, reasonably specific description of any use of the digital replica is required prior to a performer consenting to that use, with limited expectations. Warner Brothers declined to comment. Again, you don't want to be making a Mad Max movie and then sign this consent form, and then Warner Brothers makes a Mad Max iPhone game, and then you see yourself in that game, eating roadkill, yet you didn't perform any of that, and you're not getting paid for it. The AI, the effectiveness on the AI language is still up in the air. We don't know how that's going to turn out. AI generated works are not copyrightable. Richard Jenkins, a former WB senior VP and current president and CEO of tech and consulting firm I2A2, believes the SAG-AFTRA language ultimately, quote, may need more work, which is I believe that too, because the technology is changing so quickly and it is becoming so good that it is relatively easy to replicate an actor or actress and essentially put them in places where they haven't been. Imagine if AI was at its form now when Space Jam Legacy came out. Wouldn't make it a better movie, but they could fit more of their background characters in there. More Mr. Smiths. What else is more Air Buds? It's not Warner Brothers, it's Disney. I know, it's Disney. Another part of this AI thing is how writers writers don't want to use AI, but studios want to use AI. Not necessarily to write scripts or anything now, but the legality of using material generated by writers to train AI systems is something that's coming up. And I just read that last part of the sentence, so don't worry. Training, scraping, that's going to be a big problem. Our writer's going to have to worry about, if I'm writing a movie at Netflix, I'll stop picking Warner Bros. If I write a movie at Netflix and they have this AI program and I go, hey, I want to write a sequel to that movie. They go, no, we got it. Here's where you should start. Does that work for everybody? And the answer is no. So at this point, what do we need to do? I'm not going to be able to get to that second story, which is good. I'll have a story for next week. What do we need to be able to do in order to make these strikes now pay off for us in the end? After a year after these strikes started, and it took months for them to end. For the studio's side, they need to, all this consolidation has to stop, which is not going to happen. Warner Brothers is going to, David Zaslav has hinted that he wants to team up and do bundles. And they're technically already doing a sports bundle. Netflix doesn't want to do a bundle. So at some point, Warner Brothers is probably going to go to Disney and be like, hey, can we join the Disney bundle? Or he's probably going to go to Peacock and go, hey, why don't you bring your stuff over here since you're not doing too hot? And we can do a little bundle. So studios need this consolidation is not going to stop. So with all this consolidation, maybe more shows can be born out of that. If you're charging us, the viewer, then maybe the writers and the actors and the producers, the directors, the crews, all that stuff, everybody can be paid more because now they can have more steady work. And if we're doing IP, if there's going to be more Law and Orders, if there's going to be more, Marvel shows, then so be it. Let's get people working. Because if IP is all you want to do, then sure, why not? Open up writers' rooms, full ones. Let people be able to work. Bring on more than 2 writers. Let's give out more titles. When I was watching The Bear and I would watch the credits, every writer I'd seen on there is a producer. Joanna Callow, a producer. The rest, I'm not gonna name any other people. The producers, they were named as producers, but I know that they're writers on the program. The program. Oh man, I just saw. Wow, what a thing to see. Breaking news, speaking of Warner Brothers, from the New York Times, the NBA announced deals with Disney, Comcast, and Amazon for the rights to show the league's games, rejecting a rival bid to keep games on TNT. Warner Brothers tried to match Amazon's billion. I think it's like 1.4 billion or something like that. And the league just said, no, thank you. Whew, that's wild. Well, Inside the NBA is done, and looks like 100, 200 people lost their jobs next year after this next NBA season. That's crazy. Boy, that sucks. Anyway, And then on the writers and unions and the actors' sides, on the creative side, I'll just say on the creative side, I mean, we're just gonna have to be more gung ho. They have to ratify this contract and add in better language that's acceptable for everybody, so that the companies can't say, well, you said we couldn't use AI in this way, but what about this way? And they don't just do it. That's very important. That's very important. And what else would actors and writers and what do creators need to do? Maybe find some type of competing space where people can make money. And I think, unfortunately, that's YouTube. That's taken over by YouTube and TikTok and the like. But what's done on TV doesn't necessarily translate to what's done on the internet. They're like two different monsters. What's done on streaming isn't the same as what's done on cable or broadcasting. Anyway, all right. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. If you want to see a video version of this show, go to, I don't know, youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Sorry, I was trying to, I missed the soundboard. If you want to see a video version of the other shows, including Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and Constitutionals podcast, go to the same youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Subscribe to all the shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook @cpluscomedy. Follow me on those platforms @ChadBlackWhite. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.